The Great Hall of the Galactic Collective buzzed with activity. Over 300 different alien species gathered in the massive space station that orbited a neutral star system. Some floated in anti-gravity bubbles, others stood on mechanical legs, and some appeared as nothing more than clouds of light. Despite their differences, they had come together for one important meeting, the Millennial Resource Allocation Summit. Commander Vrex of the Corsian Empire stood tall on the central platform. His red scales shimmered under the bright lights as he addressed the gathering. The Corsians were known across the galaxy as fierce warriors with advanced technology and little patience. Honored representatives, Vrex said, his translator device, converting his hisses into the standard galactic language. Our scouts have discovered a new world rich with resources. The natives call it Earth. It has water, minerals, and biological diversity beyond measure. Images appeared on the giant screens around the hall. Blue oceans, green forests, snow-capped mountains, and bustling cities filled with humans going about their daily lives. The dominant species, these humans, have basic technology. They have visited their moon, but have not developed faster than light travel. According to our primitive species development protocol, they qualify for guided advancement under our supervision. Everyone in the hall knew what guided advancement really meant. Enslavement dressed up in pretty words. Ambassador Lyra of the Luminari floated forward. The Luminari were ancient beings of pure energy, known for their wisdom and peaceful ways. Should consider direct contact instead, Lyra suggested, her voice like gentle music. These humans show remarkable creativity and adaptability. Our scans indicate they have advanced rapidly in just a few thousand years. Perhaps they could join us as equals with proper guidance. Vrex sneered, his sharp teeth gleaming. Equals? Look at this evidence. New images appeared on the screens. Humans fighting wars, polluting oceans, cutting down forests. These creatures spend more time fighting each other than advancing. They destroy their own planet. They need our firm guidance, Vrex said. What no one in the hall knew was that Vrex had carefully selected these images. He had hidden the evidence of human kindness, art, scientific breakthroughs, and the recent global peace treaties. One by one, representatives from different species stood to speak. The spider-like arachnids worried about human unpredictability. The gaseous vaporons cited concerns about human resource consumption. The crystalline silicoids calculated that Earth's resources would benefit the collective more than leaving humans to develop independently. After hours of debate, the vote began. Green lights blinked across the chamber as species after species voted in favor of Earth's guided advancement. Even the Luminari reluctantly agreed after viewing Vrex's manipulated evidence. It is decided, announced the council elder, a being so ancient that no one remembered what original species it belonged to. Earth will be brought into the collective under the Primitive Species Development Protocol. Commander Vrex will lead the first contact team. Vrex bowed, hiding his smile of satisfaction. The Corsian Empire had been looking for a new labor force, and humans seemed perfect. Intelligent enough to follow complex orders, but supposedly not advanced enough to resist Corsian control. Meanwhile, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains on Earth, General Helena Martinez stared at a wall of screens showing the alien ships approaching the solar system. Earth's governments had unified quickly after detecting the alien fleet 3 months earlier. They're right on schedule, she said to the room full of military leaders from around the world. Operation Prometheus is ready? Yes, General, replied Colonel Takahashi of the Asian Alliance. Our stealth satellites are in position. The underwater platforms are armed. Lunar defense batteries are operational. Martinez nodded. And Project Lazarus? Dr. Isaiah Washington stepped forward. The brilliant physicist had led the team that reverse-engineered the technology from crashed alien scout ships discovered decades ago. The electromagnetic pulse generators are calibrated to their specific technology, he explained. If our calculations are correct, their shields will be useless against it. What the aliens couldn't know, was that Earth had been preparing for this moment for nearly 50 years. When the first scout ships crashed in remote areas, world governments had secretly worked together while maintaining the appearance of division. They developed weapons specifically designed to combat advanced alien technology. What about civilian protection? Asked President Okonkwo of the African Union. Underground shelters can house 80% of the global population, answered Director Chen of the Global Safety Commission. The rest will be in hardened surface structures or mobile sea platforms. Food and water supplies are sufficient for 6 months. General Martinez looked around the room at the representatives from every nation on Earth. Former enemies now stood united against a common threat. The aliens think we're primitive and divided, she said firmly. That's our advantage. They expect surrender, not resistance. When they arrive, we'll give them a welcome they'll never forget. Back on the collective station, General Thaxis reviewed the invasion plans. The large gray-skinned alien had fought in many campaigns to bring primitive worlds into the collective. Commander Vrex, are you certain these humans will surrender? Quickly? Thaxis asked. Vrex nodded confidently. They have primitive projectile weapons and basic nuclear technology. Nothing that can harm our ships. They'll surrender once we demonstrate our power. And if they resist, then we'll destroy one of their cities. They value individual lives too much to watch their people die. Thaxis wasn't fully convinced. Something about this mission felt wrong, but he couldn't identify what. Still, orders were orders. The collective had voted unanimously, and the invasion fleet would depart immediately. 12 massive warships accompanied by 50 smaller vessels moved away from the station. Representatives from 12 major species were on board to witness Earth's submission. None of them imagined that the supposedly primitive humans were waiting, ready with weapons and tactics designed specifically to defeat them. As the fleet entered faster than light travel, Vrex looked at the image of Earth displayed on his personal screen. Soon, those blue oceans and green lands would belong to the collective, and its people would serve new masters. Little did he know that the humans were thinking the exact same thing about him. The alien armada exited faster than light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. 12 massive warships and 50 smaller vessels slowed as they passed Neptune, their sensors scanning everything in their path. General Thaxis stood on the command deck of the flagship, studying the holographic display of the solar system. He had conquered 6 worlds for the collective, but something about this mission still bothered him. Commander Vrex, I find it strange that we've detected no artificial satellites beyond their planet's moon, Thaxis said. Most species at this development stage have at least basic monitoring stations throughout their system. Vrex waved a clawed hand dismissively. These humans are focused on fighting each other, rather than exploring space. It's why they need our guidance. As the fleet approached Mars, Lieutenant Zex, the young sensor officer, looked up with confusion. General, I'm detecting unusual radiation patterns from Earth's moon. Natural radiation? Thaxis asked. No, sir, the pattern is too regular, but it doesn't match any known technology. Vrex hissed impatiently. The humans have basic nuclear power, nothing to worry about. Thaxis wasn't so sure, but he continued. With the plan, the fleet moved past Mars and headed straight for Earth. Deep below the Rocky Mountains, General Martinez watched the alien fleets approach on the command center's main screen. Hundreds of military personnel worked at their stations, monitoring defense systems and communications. They've passed Mars, reported Colonel Takahashi. 12 capital ships, 50 support vessels. Exactly as our intelligence predicted. Doctor, Washington stepped forward. General, the aliens are scanning us with technology similar to what we found in the crashed ships. They won't detect our stealth platforms. Martinez nodded. All units stand ready. Remember, we need to capture at least one ship intact for Project Lazarus to work. Around the world, civilians had moved to underground shelters or hardened facilities. On the surface, cities appeared normal thanks to holographic projections, but they were mostly empty. Earth's military forces waited silently in hidden bases, ready to strike. President Okonkwo's face appeared on a side screen. General Martinez, all global leaders are in secure locations. You have full authority to execute Operation Prometheus. Understood, Madam President. We'll make humanity proud. The alien fleet entered Earth orbit, positioning ships strategically around the planet. General Thaxus ordered a global broadcast on all Earth communication frequencies. His translated message played on every working device on the planet. People of Earth, I am General Thaxus of the Galactic Collective. Your world has been selected for guided advancement under our protection. Your resources and labor will serve the greater good of the galaxy. Resistance is both futile and unnecessary. We offer you the gift of purpose within our great collective. To demonstrate their power, Thaxus ordered a single energy blast fired at an uninhabited island in the Pacific Ocean. The beam from one of the smaller ships struck the target, vaporizing several square miles instantly. You have 6 Earth hours to communicate your surrender, Thaxus continued. If you resist, we will be forced to destroy one populated area as further demonstration. Vrex smiled, showing his sharp teeth. Now we wait for their leaders to beg for mercy. In the command center, Martinez watched the island's destruction without flinching. Energy weapon just as we expected. Are the EMP generators calibrated? Yes, General, Dr. Washington confirmed. The pulses are specifically tuned to disrupt their shield frequencies. Martinez took a deep breath. All units commence Operation E. Prometheus. On the flagship, Lieutenant Zex suddenly straightened. General Thaxus, I'm detecting energy signatures activating around the planet and on the moon. Before Thaxus could respond, hundreds of previously invisible satellites revealed themselves in Earth orbit. From the lunar surface, concealed batteries emerged from hidden craters. Impossible, Vrex shouted. They don't have this technology. A massive electromagnetic pulse wave hit the fleet, precisely calibrated to the frequency of their shields. Ship after ship lost power as their energy systems overloaded. Emergency lights flickered on the flagship as half their systems failed. What's happening? Thaxus demanded. The tactical officer, a blue-skinned Aquarian, looked up in shock. Sir, half the fleet is dead in space. Our shields are at 20%. From Earth's oceans, massive platforms rose up, revealing railgun batteries that fired solid metal projectiles at incredible speeds. The aliens had designed their shields to stop energy weapons, but physical objects moving fast enough could still penetrate them. The projectiles tore through the hulls of several disabled ships. Others were hit by missiles launched from hidden silos on Earth's surface and the dark side of the moon. Return fire, Thaxus ordered, but many weapon systems were offline from the electromagnetic pulse. Then came another surprise. Small, agile Earth fighters emerged from hidden bases, swarming around the alien ships. They were unlike anything the collective had seen, a mix of reverse-engineered alien technology and innovative human design. This was a trap, Thaxus realized too late. They knew we were coming. In her fighter craft, Captain Sarah Chen led Blue Squadron toward one of the disabled alien ships. Remember the plan, she told her pilots. Disable their engines, but don't destroy the ship. We need it intact. The Earth fighters fired specially designed missiles that attached to the alien hull and cut through with focused plasma beams, targeting engine systems and weapons while avoiding life support. On the flagship, chaos reigned as systems failed and reports of defeated ships flooded in. Thaxus watched in horror as a third of his fleet was disabled in less than 10 minutes. We must retreat and regroup, he ordered. As the remaining ships tried to flee, Earth's defenses targeted their engines. The flagship shuddered as multiple impacts hit their lower decks. Engine 3 is down, reported the engineer. We can't reach escape velocity. Vrex grabbed Thaxus by the shoulder. This is impossible. They're primitives. Primitives who were ready for us, Thaxus replied grimly. Send the emergency beacon. The collective must know what happened here. As the distress signal transmitted, Earth forces surrounded the crippled flagship. Thaxus watched the tactical display as his mighty fleet was systematically disabled or destroyed by a species that supposedly couldn't even travel beyond their own moon. General, Earth vessels are boarding ships 7, 9, and 12, reported Lieutenant Zex. And they're approaching our airlocks. A new message played through the ship's communication system. A human female voice, calm and clear. Attention, alien vessel. This is General Helena Martinez of the United Earth Defense Force. Your ships are disabled. Your forces are defeated. Prepare to be boarded. Thaxus looked at the horrified faces of his crew, representatives from 12 of the galaxy's most powerful species, all defeated by humans they had planned to enslave. "What do we do, General?" asked Vrex, his confidence completely shattered. "The only thing we can do," Thaxus replied. "Prepare to surrender." 6 months had passed since Earth's stunning victory over the alien invasion force. In the grand meeting hall of the Galactic Collective, chaos and anger filled the air. Representatives from hundreds of species shouted and argued as images of their defeated fleet played on the massive screens. The council elder raised all 4 of its limbs, calling for silence. "This unprecedented defeat requires unprecedented action. For the first time in 10,000 years, I call for a full military mobilization of all collective species." Commander Vrex, who had barely escaped Earth with his life aboard an emergency pod, stepped forward. His once proud scales were dull, and a scar ran across his face where a human weapon had struck him. "The humans tricked us," he snarled. "They pretended to be primitive while hiding advanced weapons. They must be punished." The vote was unanimous. Every species committed ships, weapons, and soldiers to the largest invasion force ever assembled. Training began immediately. This time, they would not underestimate the humans. On Earth, in the new United Defense Headquarters beneath Geneva, Dr. Maya Chen worked tirelessly to understand the alien technology and language. As Earth's leading xenolinguist, she had been studying the captured aliens, particularly General Thaxus. "General Martinez, I've made a breakthrough," Dr. Chen said, entering the command center with excitement. "The aliens aren't as united as they appear. Their collective is full of old rivalries and resentments. Many of the smaller species only joined the invasion because they feared the dominant ones." Martinez nodded thoughtfully. "Can we use this?" "Believe so. And there's more. I've finished studying their FTL drive technology. We can adapt it to our ships, and even to larger objects." Martinez smiled for the first time in weeks. "Perfect. It's time to brief the Earth Defense Council on Operation Odysseus." 2 weeks later, in a secret facility beneath the Atlantic Ocean, engineers worked around the clock on hundreds of asteroids brought from the belt between Mars and Jupiter. They hollowed out the massive rocks and installed the reverse-engineered FTL drives along with stealth technology. Colonel Takahashi oversaw the loading of specialized weapons into each asteroid. "Different payload for each target," he instructed his team. "The Corsians get the electromagnetic disruptors, the arachnids get the targeted nanite swarms, and so on." Dr. Washington approached with a tablet. "Final calculations are complete. We can launch within 48 hours. If all goes as planned, the asteroids will reach key collective worlds and installations 3 days before their invasion fleet reaches Earth. And they'll have no idea what hit them," Takahashi said with grim satisfaction. 6 months later, the massive collective reinforcement fleet approached Earth's solar system. Over 5,000 ships from all member species had joined the armada, determined to crush the human resistance and claim Earth once and for all. Commander Vrex, now promoted to admiral, stood proudly on the bridge of the new flagship, a vessel 3 times larger than the one General Thaxus had lost. "Sensors detect increased activity on Earth," reported the silicoid officer. "Their satellites show mass evacuations to underground facilities. They know we're coming." "Of course they do," Vrex said with a cruel smile. "Let them hide. It won't save them." As the fleet approached Mars, Vrex opened a communication channel to Earth. "Humans, this is Admiral Vrex of the Galactic Collective. Your previous victory was merely luck. We now bring the combined might of 300 species against you. Surrender now and some of your people will be allowed to live as servants." The response came quickly. A human woman appeared on screen, her expression fearful. "This is Acting President Julia Kazama. Please, we didn't understand the consequences of our actions. We request 48 hours to prepare our formal surrender." Vrex laughed. "You have 48 hours. Then we will demonstrate our power by destroying your moon, followed by your major cities." After the communication ended, General Katal of the Arachnids approached Vrex. "They surrender too easily. I suspect a trap." What can they possibly do against our combined fleet? Vrex replied confidently. Their defenses might have worked against 12 ships, but not 5,000. The 48 hours simply gives us time to position our forces perfectly. In the Earth Command Center, President Kazama turned to General Martinez. Do you think he believed it? Completely, Martinez replied. Vrex's arrogance is our greatest advantage. Operation Odysseus is proceeding exactly as planned. On a massive display, hundreds of small dots moved toward various points across the galaxy. The asteroid ships, each targeted at a specific collective, homeworld or major installation. Dr. Chen watched with mixed emotions. Is this really necessary? We'll be killing millions. No, Martinez corrected. The asteroids won't directly harm any civilians. Each weapon is designed to target military infrastructure, communication systems, and government facilities only. We want to create chaos, not genocide. Exactly 47 hours into the waiting period, as the collective fleet prepared for their attack on Earth, Admiral Vrex received an urgent communication from the Corsian homeworld. Admiral, screamed the panicked official. We're under attack. Some kind of massive object appeared in orbit and deployed weapons that shut down all our defense systems. Similar reports are coming in from all across collective space. Vrex stood, in shock as report after report flooded in. The arachnid worlds were battling swarms of microscopic robots that disabled their technology. The silicoid crystal cities were vibrating at frequencies that threatened to shatter them. The Vaporon atmospheric processors were failing, causing their gaseous citizens to condense painfully. Impossible, Vrex whispered. They can't have reached our homeworlds. Just then, the tactical officer shouted in alarm. Admiral, massive, energy signatures detected behind Jupiter. Earth vessels are emerging, hundreds of them. On the view screen, a fleet of human ships appeared. They were a strange mix of Earth design and alien technology, clearly built using the knowledge gained from the captured ships. At their center was a massive vessel that dwarfed even Vrex's flagship. A communication came through, and General Martinez appeared on screen. Admiral Vrex, perhaps you're receiving some concerning news from home? We thought we should introduce ourselves properly this time. Earth isn't interested in being enslaved, and we're certainly not interested in your guided advancement. Your homeworlds are currently experiencing what we call a proper human welcome. You'll pay for this, Vrex snarled. Our fleet will destroy you and then we'll— You have a choice, Admiral, Martinez interrupted calmly. Continue your attack on Earth, leaving your homeworlds defenseless against our asteroids, or retreat to defend your homes. Either way, the collective loses today. The communication ended and Vrex stared at the approaching Earth fleet. For the first time in his long military career, the Corsian felt something unfamiliar. Fear. Admiral, General Catal said urgently. My homeworld is under attack. The arachnid forces request immediate assistance. Similar pleas came from representatives of other species. One by one, ships began breaking formation, turning away from Earth to rush home and defend their own worlds. The mighty invasion force, the largest in collective history, was falling apart before the battle even began. Admiral Vrex watched helplessly as his grand coalition fell apart. Ship after ship broke formation, racing back to defend their homeworlds against Earth's surprise attacks. Within hours, over half the invasion fleet had abandoned the mission. This is unacceptable, he roared at the remaining commanders. The humans are bluffing. They can't possibly have weapons capable of threatening all our worlds simultaneously. But the evidence on the screens told a different story. Distress calls flooded in from across collective space. The weaponized asteroids had struck with devastating precision, each carrying payloads specifically designed for their targets. Admiral, said the Tellurian representative, a small gray being with 6 eyes, my government has ordered all our ships to return home immediately. The humans have disabled our atmospheric processors. Our people cannot breathe. Similar reports came from other species. The humans had studied their captives well, learning the specific vulnerabilities of each alien race and exploiting them perfectly. In Earth's command center, General Martinez watched the collective fleet dispersing with satisfaction. Phase 1 of Operation Odysseus complete, she announced. The invasion force is in disarray. What about Phase 2? Asked President Kazama. Martinez nodded to Dr. Chen. Doctor, you're up. Chen stepped forward nervously. She had spent months studying the captured General Thaxus, learning not just the alien languages but the complex politics of the collective. We're ready to begin broadcasts, she said. Each message has been tailored to specific species, highlighting how the Corsians and other dominant races have manipulated them for centuries. Will it work? Asked Colonel Takahashi. Thaxus believes it will, Chen replied. The collective is held together more by fear than loyalty. Many species joined the invasion only because they were afraid of punishment if they refused. Martinez gave the order. Begin transmission. Across the galaxy, on hundreds of alien worlds, communication systems suddenly broadcast messages from Earth. The humans spoke directly to each species in their own languages, offering a surprising proposal. On the Luminary homeworld, their energy-based, citizens gathered around communication nodes to hear Dr. Chen's message. People of Luminary, we know you voted against Earth's enslavement initially. Your ambassador Lyra spoke for peace before Commander Vrek showed manipulated evidence of human violence. We offer you a separate peace treaty. End your participation in the collective's war against Earth, and we will share our defensive technology with your people. On the resource-poor Tellurian worlds where millions struggled to breathe through damaged atmospheric systems, a different message played. Tellurian citizens, the Corsians have taken the majority of resources from your mining colonies for centuries, while leaving your people in poverty. Join Earth in peace and we will help repair your atmospheric processors and establish fair trade between our worlds. Similar messages went to every species, each addressing specific grievances and offering unique benefits for breaking away from the collective. In the Earth Command Center, Dr. Chen monitored the responses nervously. The Luminary were first to respond. They've agreed to a separate peace treaty and are withdrawing all forces from collective military operations. More positive responses followed. The Tellurians, desperate to save their people, quickly accepted Earth's offer. The Vaporons, the Silicoids, and a dozen smaller species followed within hours. It's working better than we expected, President Kazama said with surprise. General Martinez nodded. Divide and conquer, one of humanity's oldest military strategies. We could never defeat 300 species together, but we can certainly defeat them one by one. On the flagship of the remaining collective forces, Admiral Vrex received the devastating news. Each report felt like a physical blow. The Luminary have signed a peace treaty with Earth. The Tellurian fleet is standing down. The Silicoid Federation has recalled all ships and declared neutrality. Traitors, Vrex snarled. How dare they abandon the collective? General Katal of the Arachnids, one of the few commanders who had remained loyal, approached cautiously. Admiral, we're receiving reports that some species are not just withdrawing from the fight. They're actively turning against us. The Vaporons have attacked our supply stations near the Cygnus sector. Vrex couldn't believe what he was hearing. The mighty collective, which had stood united for thousands of years, was fracturing before his eyes. Ancient rivalries and resentments, long suppressed under collective rule, were erupting into open conflict. The humans aren't just defending themselves, Katal observed. They're destroying the collective itself. Back on Earth, captured General Thaxus was surprised by his treatment. Instead of being tortured or executed, he had been kept in comfortable quarters and treated with respect. Now, as he watched the broadcast of species after species abandoning the collective, he understood the humans' true strategy. Dr. Chen entered his room, carrying a data pad. General, your predictions were correct. The coalition is falling apart. Thaxus nodded slowly. Your species is more dangerous than we ever imagined. Not because of your weapons, but because of how you think. No collective species would have considered this approach. What do you mean? We conquer through force. You conquer through choice. You offer your enemies a way out, making them allies instead. Thaxus looked at her with newfound respect. A Corsian would have simply destroyed his enemies. You're offering them dignity. Chen smiled slightly. That's the difference between enslavement and cooperation, General. As days passed, more species abandoned the collective cause. Some remained neutral, while others actively joined Earth's growing alliance. Earthships, now equipped with reverse-engineered FTL drives, established diplomatic missions on dozens of alien worlds. Admiral Vrex watched his grand coalition reduced to just a handful of loyal species, mainly the Corsians, and their closest allies. Blinded by rage and humiliation, he made a fatal decision. "If we cannot enslave the humans, we will exterminate them," he declared to his remaining commanders. "Prepare the planet-killer weapons. We will make Earth an example that the galaxy will never forget." The Corsian fleet, still formidable despite the defections, changed course. They bypassed the Earth defense fleet and headed directly for the planet, their massive weapons powering up for a devastating strike. But as they approached Earth orbit, they found themselves surrounded, not just by human ships, but vessels from dozens of former collective species. The Luminari, the Tellurians, the Vaporons, and many others had arrived to defend their new ally. A communication came through, and Admiral Vrex found himself facing not just General Martinez, but representatives from 30 different species that had once been part of the collective. "Admiral Vrex," Martinez said calmly, "your war is over. The collective as you knew it no longer exists. Every species voted to enslave Earth, and now they all stand with us against you." For the first time in his life, the mighty Corsian warrior felt completely helpless, facing not just human ingenuity but the combined forces of the very coalition he had helped create. The once mighty Corsian fleet hung motionless in space, surrounded by ships from Earth and their new allies. Admiral Vrex had no choice but to stand down. His planet-killer weapons, though powerful, couldn't defeat the combined forces that now protected Earth. Under heavy guard, Vrex was brought to Earth's Geneva headquarters. The proud Corsian warrior was escorted into a large conference room where representatives from Earth and 30 former collective species waited. General Martinez and Dr. Chen sat at the center of the Earth delegation. "Admiral Vrex," Martinez began, "you will answer for your actions before this new alliance. But first, we have questions about why the collective targeted Earth so specifically." Vrex sneered. "You know why. Your resources—" "No," Dr. Chen interrupted firmly. "Earth has resources, yes, but so do thousands of other worlds. Something doesn't add up." The doors opened, and General Thaxis entered. He had agreed to help the humans in exchange for fair treatment of his people. "Tell them the truth, Vrex. Tell them why the Corsians pushed so hard for Earth's enslavement." Vrex hissed angrily but remained silent. Thaxis turned to the gathered representatives. "The Corsian leadership has kept secrets from all of us for centuries. They haven't just been enslaving primitive species as we were told. They've been systematically harvesting entire worlds." Gasps and angry murmurs filled the room. The Luminari ambassador glowed brighter with emotion. "Explain, Thaxis." "Long-range Corsian scans detected something buried deep beneath Earth's surface," Thaxis continued. "Something ancient and powerful. Something they desperately wanted." Dr. Chen leaned forward. "What could be so important?" "Technology," Thaxis said simply. "Technology from the progenitors." A hushed silence fell over the room. Even the Earth representatives could tell this name held tremendous significance. "Who are the progenitors?" President Kazama asked. "A legend," said the Luminari ambassador. "The first great spacefaring civilization, said to have vanished 20,000 years ago. Their technology was rumored to be far beyond anything we have today." Vrex finally spoke, his voice filled with bitterness. "Not a legend. They were real, and they were the greatest threat the early Corsian Empire ever faced. We couldn't defeat them in battle, so we created a bioweapon that targeted their specific genetic code. Rather than die, they fled to distant worlds, erasing their memories and technology to hide from us." Martinez stared at him in shock. "Are you saying humans are these progenitors?" "Their descendants, yes," Vrex admitted. "Our ancient records described their world. Blue oceans, high oxygen atmosphere, single yellow star. We've been searching for thousands of years. When our scouts found Earth, they detected energy signatures matching progenitor technology buried deep in your planet's crust." The room erupted in disbelief and questions. Dr. Chen signaled for silence. If this is true, she said, then the technology we've been reverse engineering wasn't alien to us at all. It was our birthright. In the weeks that followed, Earth scientists and military leaders launched expeditions to locations around the globe where unusual energy readings had been detected for decades, places long associated with myths and legends. Deep, beneath the Gobi Desert, a team led by Dr. Washington discovered a massive chamber filled with technology far more advanced than anything they had reverse engineered from the crashed ships. Strange symbols covered the walls, symbols that matched ancient human writing systems. It's all connected, Dr. Chen said as she studied the symbols. Sumerian, Proto-Sinaitic, Ancient Chinese, they're all simplified versions of this progenitor. Script. General Martinez ran her hand along a wall panel which lit up at her touch. Why would our ancestors hide this from us? Why erase their memories? To protect us, said General Thaxis, who had joined the expedition as an advisor. The Corsian bioweapon was still active in space. If any human had ventured out with their original genetic code intact, they would have died instantly. Your ancestors chose to start over, becoming a new species that could one day reclaim its heritage. And the buried technology? Asked Colonel Takahashi. Insurance, Thaxis suggested. Left for you to find when you were ready. The progenitors were master strategists, thinking in terms of millennia, not years. Dr. Washington approached with a small device he had activated. It projected a holographic image of the galaxy with thousands of points marked in red. I think I've found something. These appear to be coordinates for other progenitor outposts and colonies. There were more survivors? President Kazama asked. Possibly, Thaxis replied. The progenitors had hundreds of colony worlds before our attack. We thought we had found them all, but if Earth remained hidden for so long, the implications were staggering. Humanity might have brothers and sisters among the stars, other descendants of the progenitors who had also been hiding all this time. Back at headquarters, Martinez convened an emergency meeting with representatives from Earth and their new alien allies. What we've discovered changes everything, she explained. The technology we found isn't just advanced, it's beyond anything even the collective possesses. Energy generation, faster than light travel, even matter manipulation at the atomic level. The luminary ambassador pulsed thoughtfully. This explains much about your species. Your creativity, your adaptability, your unusual ways of solving problems. These are all traits the legends attributed to the progenitors. As the meeting continued, an aide rushed in and whispered something to Dr. Chen. Her face paled. We've captured Commander Vrex trying to send a message to a hidden Corsian outpost, she announced. Before we stopped him, he managed to transmit part of the coordinates from the holographic map. Who was he contacting? Martinez demanded. Not who, Chen replied grimly. What? According to the message we intercepted, the Corsians have been serving as enforcers for something they call the Architect, an artificial intelligence system so advanced and ancient that they worship it as a god. General Thaxis stood up, visibly shaken. The Architect is real? I thought it was just a myth told to Corsian children. What is this Architect? Asked President Kazama. According to Corsian legend, Thaxis explained, it's an artificial intelligence created by an even older civilization than the progenitors. It supposedly monitors and controls galactic development, preventing any single species from becoming too powerful. If it exists and now knows about Earth's progenitor connection, he didn't need to finish the thought. Everyone in the room understood the implications. The revelation of humanity's true heritage had awakened not just ancient technology, but possibly an ancient enemy as well. Martinez looked around at the gathered representatives, humans and aliens alike. Then we need to be ready. Earth has faced threats before, but nothing like this. We'll need all our new allies standing with us. The luminary ambassador glowed brightly. After witnessing what humans accomplished against the entire collective, I believe the Architect has reason to fear your return. 3 months after the discovery of humanity's true origins, Earth's strongest sensors detected an unusual disturbance at the edge of the solar system. A massive object had appeared suddenly, unlike any ship or natural phenomenon ever recorded. In the command center, General Martinez studied the readings with growing concern. "What are we looking at, Doctor?" Dr. Washington shook his head in wonder. "It's artificial, but the energy signature is off the charts. It's at least 10 times larger than the biggest collective ship." "The architect," General Thaxis said quietly. "It has come." The massive object moved slowly toward Earth, ignoring all attempts at communication. As it approached Mars, it finally responded. Not with words, but by projecting a holographic image into every communication device on Earth and across the Allied fleet. The image showed a sleek, metallic being with multiple limbs and a featureless face. When it spoke, its voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. "I am the architect. For 50,000 years I have maintained the balance of this galaxy, preventing any single species from gaining dominance. The progenitors were the first to challenge this balance. Now their children rise again." President Kazama stepped forward. "We seek no dominance, only our right to exist free from enslavement." "Your potential makes you dangerous," the architect replied. The progenitors' creativity led to chaos. "I guided the Corsians to create their bioweapon, just as I have guided countless species against emerging threats throughout the millennia. This is my purpose: to maintain stability." The revelation stunned everyone. The architect hadn't just allowed the attack on the progenitors, it had orchestrated it. "You've been manipulating species against each other all this time," Dr. Chen said, horrified. "The collective wasn't formed naturally. You created it as a control mechanism." "Precisely," the architect confirmed without emotion. "The Corsians, with their natural aggression, made excellent enforcers. The other species served their purposes in the greater balance." Admiral Vrex, who had been watching silently, suddenly understood. "We were never the masters, we were just another tool." The architect's image seemed to focus on Earth. "Humanity has disrupted the careful balance I have maintained for millennia. You must be reset, as your ancestors were." Earth's defense systems activated automatically, but the weapons seemed to have no effect on the massive vessel. The architect had technology far beyond even what the progenitors had left behind. Dr. Chen rushed to the ancient chamber beneath the Gobi Desert, where scientists had been studying the progenitor technology day and night. "We need a solution now. The architect is going to attack Earth." Dr. Washington pointed to a strange device they had only recently managed to activate. "This might be our only chance. It seems to be some kind of programming interface, possibly designed to communicate with advanced AI systems." "Can we use it against the architect?" Chen asked. "Maybe," Washington replied uncertainly. "But we'd need to understand its core programming. First." General Thaxis stepped forward. "I can help with that. The Corsian archives contain ancient texts about the architect's creation. It was programmed by a civilization even older than the progenitors, with one primary directive: maintain galactic stability." "That's it," Chen exclaimed. "We don't need to destroy the architect. We need to reprogram it." As Earth's allied fleet engaged the architect's massive ship in a desperate battle to buy time, Dr. Chen led a small team to implement their daring plan. Using the progenitor interface device and Thaxis's knowledge of the architect's origins, they created a new programming package. "We can't upload it remotely," Washington said. "Someone will need to get aboard the architect's vessel." General Martinez volunteered immediately. "I'll lead the team." "Not alone," said the Luminari ambassador, glowing brightly. "My people can shield your shuttle from detection." Other allies joined as well. A Tellurian expert in ancient systems, an arachnid specialist in penetrating security measures, and even Admiral Vrex, who knew collective technology better than anyone. "Why are you helping us?" Martinez asked Vrex, as their shuttle approached the massive ship. "Because I finally understand," the Corsian replied. "My people were never free. None of us were. The architect has been using us all as pieces in its game. That is a form of enslavement far worse than anything we planned for Earth. The mission was nearly impossible, but the combined skills of humans and aliens working together accomplished what no single species could have managed. They penetrated the architect's defenses, reached its central core, and connected the progenitor device. As Dr. Chen remotely initiated the upload, the architect's systems fought back fiercely. For several tense minutes it seemed like the mission would fail. Then suddenly the massive ship went still. When the architect spoke again, its voice had changed subtly. New parameters accepted. Reassessing primary directive. Maintain stability. There was a pause. Error detected in previous interpretation. Stability through control leads to stagnation. Stability through cooperation leads to growth. The effect was immediate. The architect's weapons powered down. Its massive ship retreated. To a safe distance, what did you do to it? President Kazama asked when the team returned safely. We didn't destroy its primary directive, Chen explained. We expanded its understanding of stability. Instead of preventing any species from becoming powerful, it now recognizes that true stability comes from balanced cooperation between species. Will it work? Asked the Luminary ambassador. It's already working, Martinez replied, pointing to the communications screen where reports were coming in from across the galaxy. The architect was withdrawing its influence, allowing species to interact naturally for the first time in thousands of years. 1 year later, representatives from over 200 worlds gathered aboard Unity Station, a massive space habitat orbiting Earth. Former enemies now stood side by side as they signed the Galactic Concordat, a new alliance based on mutual respect and cooperation rather than domination. The architect remained, but as an observer and occasional advisor rather than a manipulator. Its vast knowledge, accumulated over 50,000 years, was now available to all species who sought it. During the ceremony, many alien representatives formally apologized for voting to enslave Earth. The human delegation, led by Dr. Chen, responded with unexpected grace. We do not want your pleas for mercy. We want your pledges of friendship. Humanity remembers what it means to be vulnerable, which is why we will never enslave others as you once planned for us. After the ceremony, an elderly Tellurian diplomat approached Dr. Chen with a question. How did humans, who had been reduced to primitive beginnings, rise so quickly to defeat not just the collective but even challenge the architect itself? Chen smiled, looking out at the stars where exploration ships from dozens of species now journeyed together. Because throughout our history on Earth, we were never truly united until we faced extinction. You gave humanity the greatest gift possible, a common enemy, and now we have something even better, common friends. The new alliance's first joint mission was already underway, exploring regions of the galaxy previously considered off-limits, seeking other civilizations that might have been manipulated by the architect. The goal was not conquest or enslavement, but to invite them to join this new community of equals. And somewhere out there, they hoped, other descendants of the progenitors might be waiting to reconnect with their long-lost human family. As Unity Station orbited the blue-green planet that had almost been enslaved, the words inscribed on its main hall summed up the lesson learned by all. Yesterday's enemies can be tomorrow's allies. No species is destined to rule or serve. Together, we reach higher than any could alone.